There's a strange paradox at the center of anxiety. The very alarm designed to protect you can become the thing that torments you. Imagine a smoke detector in a quiet kitchen. It is a small guardian, meant to shriek when fire arrives. But what if it begins screaming at toast, at steam, at the memory of smoke? What if the house learns to live in that siren's shadow, flinching at breakfast, dreading dinner, distrusting the air itself? You would not call the alarm evil. You would call it confused, overactive, caught in a loop it did not know how to leave. So it is with us. Anxiety is not your enemy marching in from the dark. It is a loyal mechanism that has lost its calibration. It thinks you are still on the savannah, still hunted, still one heartbeat away from vanishing. It uses the language it knows best: tight chest, racing thoughts, restless hands, a future that grows teeth at night. And because it lives so close to the bone, it can feel like the truth. But anxiety does not speak truth. It speaks urgency. It's a town crier who yells now, 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 even when nothing is happening at all. Let me ask you something that may sound simple, but sits at the root of the whole matter. What if the goal isn't to defeat anxiety, but to understand it? What if beating anxiety is a kind of misnomer, like trying to punch the ocean quiet? When you wrestle a wave, you drown. When you learn to float, you are carried. Most of us were taught to treat anxiety like a stain on the soul. Scrub it, hide it, medicate it into silence, prove you're fine. Yet the more you struggle to be fearless, the more fear grows clever. It slips into the corners of your life. It disguises itself as productivity, as perfection, as being responsible. It says, if you stop worrying, you'll fall apart. And because you love your life, because you love the people in it, you listen. But there's another way to meet this paradox, a softer way, a wiser way. To see anxiety as a messenger, an anxious messenger. Yes, often exaggerating, often dramatic, but a messenger nonetheless. Not every message is correct, yet every message points somewhere. Toward a need, a boundary, a grief, a body that has been running too long without rest. In the next few movements of this meditation, I want to offer you 5 ways to beat anxiety that are really 5 ways to unknot your relationship with it. We will start not in the heavens of abstract thought, but in the earth of the body. Then we will step into time, into uncertainty, into the stories you tell yourself, and finally into the warm, imperfect medicine of other people. Each way is not a trick. It's a return, a remembering, like coming back to a house you thought you lost, only to discover the door was never locked. So take a breath with me, yes, right now. Not to fix anything, just to arrive. Because before we can walk out of the fog, we have to admit we're in it. And that admission, gentle and honest, is already the first flicker of dawn. Start where anxiety starts, in your body. Before it becomes philosophy, before it becomes a story about who you are and what might happen. Anxiety is first a sensation, a tide in the bloodstream, a drumbeat in the ribs, a flock of birds suddenly lifting inside the skull. The mind loves to take credit for it. I'm anxious because I'm thinking, but often it's the other way around. You're thinking because your body is anxious. We forget this because we live like floating heads in a world of deadlines and glowing screens. But you are not a head, you are an animal, a remarkably sensitive one, an animal that needs sunlight, water, movement, safety, and sleep the way a plant needs soil. If any of these are missing long enough, the nervous system doesn't write you a polite letter. It shouts. Picture a rider on a horse. The rider is the mind, clever, talkative, always planning the road. The horse is your body, strong, wordless, living in the present. For a while the rider can yank the reins, and the horse will obey. But if the horse is thirsty, wounded, exhausted, or scared, no amount of clever direction will help. It will rear, it will bolt, it will tremble, and the rider, confused, will call the horse irrational. Yet the horse is simply being honest. So, the first way to beat anxiety is to befriend the body, to stop treating it like a vehicle and start treating it like a companion. This is not self-help fluff. It is ancient wisdom in modern clothes. The sages knew the breath is the bridge. When the breath is shallow, life feels narrow. When the breath is deep, the world widens again. Try this. Notice your breathing when anxiety visits. Is it high in the chest, quick like a frightened rabbit. Don't scold it. Don't force it. Just place a hand on your belly as if you're meeting a scared child. Let the inhale travel downward. Let the exhale be a long door opening. Even 3 slower breaths can tell the nervous system, we are not dying right now. Then move. Not to outrun fear, but to metabolize its energy. Anxiety is motion trapped in a cage. Walk. Stretch. Shake out your hands like you're flicking water from them. Your body evolved to complete the stress cycle through action. If you freeze at a laptop all day, the alarm keeps ringing because the body never hears. Threat resolved and sleep sweet. Underestimated medicine. A tired brain is a catastrophizing brain. When you are sleep deprived, your amygdala becomes a loudspeaker and your prefrontal cortex, the calm elder, goes offline. You then interpret normal life as a battlefield. The solution may be less heroic than you think. More rest, more consistency, more gentleness with your rhythms. In other words, return to the animal you are. Feed it, move it, let it breathe, let it sleep. When the horse is cared for, the rider doesn't need to scream. And the road, though still uncertain, stops looking. Like the edge of the world, anxiety has a favorite hiding place. And it is not in your body this time. It is in your relationship with time. That notice how anxiety speaks. It rarely says, "This moment is unbearable." It says, "What if tomorrow collapses? What if next week ruins you? What if 10 years from now you look back and realize you chose wrong?" Anxiety is a prophet of doom with a broken telescope. It stares into fog and calls the shapes certainty. The mind is a time traveler. That's its genius and its curse. It can replay the past with surgical detail, and it can invent futures so vivid you start sweating in the present. And here's the trap. The body cannot tell the difference between an actual threat and an imagined one. Your heart does not know that the disaster is only a rehearsal in your skull. So your nervous system mobilizes as if the tiger is already in the room. The second way to beat anxiety, then, is to change your relationship with time. Not by becoming naive or unprepared, but by scaling your attention back to what time is actually giving you. This breath, this step, this hour. There's an old parable about a traveler crossing a mountain bridge in thick mist. The bridge is safe, but visibility is 10 feet. The traveler keeps insisting on seeing the entire span before moving. He panics. He freezes. He imagines the bridge ending in a cliff. Meanwhile, the only real task is here. Take the next 10 feet, and the next. Fog is not an argument against movement. It is an invitation to smaller movement. Ask yourself, when anxiety swells, what is the next honest action? Not the whole life plan, not the 5-year solution, not the perfect choice that guarantees no regret. The next honest action might be, drink water, send one email, tell the truth in a conversation, shower, step outside. Write down what you're actually afraid of. You don't need to solve the entire future to regain your footing. You need to meet the present with a clean, simple act. This is not avoidance. It is realism. The future is a vast ocean. You cannot carry it in your mouth. You can only steer by the stars you see tonight. And yes, your mind will protest. It will say, but if I stop imagining worst cases, I'll be blindsided. Yet look closely. Has worry ever truly prevented your pain? Or has it mostly stolen today in the name of protecting tomorrow? There's a difference between planning and ruminating. Planning is a lantern. Rumination is a hamster wheel with a philosophy degree. One moves you. The other exhausts you while going nowhere. So practice returning from time travel. When you catch your mind sprinting ahead, gently say, not now. Anchor to sensation. Your feet on the floor, your back against the chair, the sound of the fan, the ordinary miracle of being alive this second. If you must think of the future, think like a builder, not like a doomsayer. Ask, what can I do today that makes tomorrow 1% kinder? A calmer life is not made by conquering time. It's made by living inside it one small, faithful step at a time. Now we come to the third way, and it asks something both simple and terrifying. Make space for uncertainty. Anxiety is, at heart, a thirst for guarantees. It wants a signed contract from reality. Nothing will go wrong. No one will leave. Your heart will not break. your work will be enough. Your body will keep its promises, and reality, being reality, does not sign such contracts. So anxiety keeps refreshing the page again and again, hoping the universe finally replies, approved. But life is not a courtroom, it is a river. And the river does not stop being a river just because you demand a map. Think about the way we try to control the uncontrollable. We grip, we brace, we plan for every possible collapse. Yet control, when it becomes obsession, turns into a kind of superstition. We begin to believe that if we worry hard enough, we can outwit chaos. We mistake the tension in our fists for safety. But a clenched fist cannot hold water. The tighter you squeeze, the more life leaks out between your fingers. So here is the practice: loosen your grip without letting go of your values. That sentence matters. This is not about surrendering to helplessness. It is about surrendering to the truth that you are not the author of all outcomes. You are the author of your response. You are the gardener, not the weather. A small shift can change everything. Instead of asking, "How do I get rid of uncertainty?" ask, "How do I live well inside it?" Because uncertainty is not a monster. It is a room you already live in. Anxiety furnishes that room with shadows, with worst-case paintings on every wall. But you can renovate. Start by naming the fear, not to banish it, but to bring it into the light. Anxiety thrives in vagueness. It grows fat in the fog. When you say, plainly, "I'm afraid I'll fail," or "I'm afraid they won't love me," or "I'm afraid I can't handle what's coming," you turn a ghost into a shape. A shape can be met. A ghost just haunts. Then try this counterintuitive move. Allow the unknown to be present without solving it. Say, "Maybe, maybe not," to words that open a window. Maybe I'll be judged. Maybe I won't. Maybe this goes badly. Maybe it doesn't. This isn't pessimism, it's flexibility. It stops the mind from welding itself to one catastrophic storyline. There's a Zen image I love: a person sitting by a stormy sea, not commanding the waves to stop, not pretending they're calm, but learning to sit without being dragged in. That is uncertainty. The waves will rise. The waves will fall. Your task is not to control the sea. Your task is to become a shoreline. And here's the miracle: when you make room for uncertainty, anxiety shrinks. Not because the world became safer, but because you became more spacious. You stopped requiring life to be predictable before you allowed yourself to live. So if today feels unclear, if tomorrow feels like a door you can't see through, remember, you have walked through unseen doors before. You are not new to the unknown. You were born into it, and you are still here. The fourth way to beat anxiety is to notice that anxiety is not only a feeling, but a storyteller. Inside you there is a narrator. Sometimes it is wise, sometimes hilarious, sometimes cruel. It takes raw events and turns them into meaning. A raised eyebrow becomes rejection. A late reply becomes abandonment. A small mistake becomes prophecy. The narrator is not lying on purpose. It's trying to keep you safe by predicting pain before pain arrives. But prediction is not perception. It's imagination wearing a hard hat. There's a classic image from the old teachings. At dusk you see a coil on the path. Your heart leaps snake. You freeze. You sweat. But when dawn comes, you see it clearly, a rope. Nothing changed except the light. Anxiety is dusk. Compassion is dawn. So how do we bring dawn into the mind? First, by catching the story in the act. The moment you feel that surge tight throat, spinning thoughts ask, almost playfully, what story am I telling right now? Not what is true, but what is my mind narrating? You'll be surprised how quickly the plot appears. I'm going to mess this up. They think I'm stupid. If I feel this way, I must be broken. The story is often older than the situation. It may have been written long before this moment, in childhood, in heartbreak, in the quiet bruises we don't talk about. Second, by editing the script not into sugary positivity, but into something truer. Anxiety speaks in absolutes, always. Never, everyone, no one, disaster, ruin. Truth speaks in nuance. Try replacing the iron words with human ones. I always fail becomes I've failed before. And I've also learned. They will leave becomes I don't know what they will do. But I can handle my feelings. This feeling will never end becomes this is a wave. Waves pass, Do you see what happens? The body relaxes when the story relaxes. The horse calms when the rider stops screaming. A practice that helps here is journaling, not as a diary of panic but as a courtroom of clarity. Put the fear on paper, then cross-examine it gently. What evidence do I have? Is there another explanation? If my best friend had this thought, what would I tell them? You're not trying to win an argument with yourself. You're trying to stop believing every thought is a verdict. And perhaps the most radical edit of all, separate your identity from your anxiety. You are not an anxious person. You are a person experiencing anxiety. A sky is not a storm. The sky holds storms. When you say, I am anxious, it feels like a life sentence. When you say anxiety is here, it feels like weather. Big difference, because thoughts are not commandments. They are visitors. Some are useful. Some are noisy. You can offer them tea without giving them the keys to your house. This is how the inner narrator becomes an ally again, not silenced, not worshipped, but listened to with discerning kindness. And in that kindness, the rope stays a rope, even in twilight. The fifth way to beat anxiety is the one our culture forgets most easily. Because it cannot be bought, optimized, or done alone, live with and for others, anxiety tightens the circle of your world until it fits inside your skull. It turns your attention into a surveillance camera pointed only at yourself, your performance, your safety, your future, your flaws. Under anxiety, even love can feel like a test you must pass, and the mind, left alone too long, becomes a room with no windows. But human beings are not built to survive in sealed rooms. We are built for firelight, for faces, for shared burdens. The nervous system calms in the presence of safe connection. You can feel it, a friend's laugh on the phone, a hand on your shoulder, a stranger's small kindness in a grocery store. Anxiety hates these moments because they prove you are not a solitary creature under cosmic judgment. You are part of a species, a tribe, a flawed, tender we. This doesn't mean you need a massive social life to heal. It means you need meaningful contact, however small. One honest conversation, one place you can be unperformed, one person who doesn't require you to be invincible. And beyond connection is service, the quiet antidote to self-obsession. I don't say obsession as an insult. Anxiety forces self-focus the way a toothache forces your tongue to keep returning to the sore spot. Yet when you help another being, comfort a child, check on a neighbor, volunteer, listen without fixing you, step out of the echo chamber, you remember that life is bigger than your fear. Not in the sense that your fear doesn't matter, but in the sense that it is not the whole sky. There is a subtle magic here. When you live in alignment with what you care about, anxiety loses some of its authority. It still visits, sure, the smoke alarm still chirps sometimes, but the house is no longer ruled by that sound. Meaning gives you a North Star when the inner weather turns. So ask yourself, what do I love that is larger than my anxiety? What do I want to contribute before I die? Those questions don't erase fear. They put it in perspective. Fear becomes a companion on the road, not the driver of the car. Let's return to the kitchen. The smoke alarm is still there. It may still startle you sometimes, but now you know what it is. You know how to check for real fire. You know how to open a window, how to wave away the steam, how to replace the battery when it's exhausted. You do not curse it for doing its job badly. You recalibrate it with patience. That is what these 5 ways have been pointing toward, not a life without anxiety, but a life where anxiety is not the emperor. You befriend your body. You step out of catastrophic time travel. You make room for uncertainty. You rewrite the inner story with compassion. You widen your world through connection and meaning. And if you notice a theme, it is this: every way is a return to something already true. The present, the body, the open hand, the truer story, the human circle. So breathe again with me. Feel how you are held here by gravity, by air, by the simple fact of existing. The future can wait a moment. The past can soften a moment. Right now, you are alive. And right now, you are enough to meet this moment. Let the alarm be an alarm. Let the toast be toast. Let your life be your life, unfolding with all its unpredictability, all its beauty, all its ordinary sacredness.